Hi, I'm C-Ray with Factor, and I'm excited to tell you about 3 new features that are launching. One of these is optional. All 3 have to do with time entry. So if your team is already using Factor for time entry, then pay attention. There might be some things that you want to enable in your firm so that you can take advantage of these new features, but please rest assured, you can also maintain the existing way that your team enters time or make the choice of when you want to migrate to the new form of Factor time entry. This new view for Factor time entry is arranged in a grid. So unlike the current or previous view where we had sections for each day and all of those were listed on one page, and then you would add time entries for billable time or PTO or any expenses to each day, this new view creates a row for each project and phase or task that you log time to and shows all of the days in the week so that you can easily enter time for each day without going and adding a separate time entry. It also automatically loads all of the projects or phases that your team members are assigned to on the resource schedule. So if you use resource scheduling, this is an enormous time saver. Searching happens from a single text box, so you can also search available open phases for time entry from that one box. And there are a ton of new view options for hiding weekends or hiding tasks if your team doesn't use tasks for time entry, and lots of other ways to disable or enable things that may or may not apply to your team. Now, the other 2 features are related to time entry, but not replacements for current features. They're totally new ways of tracking information about time. The first of these is a timer. We've had a lot of requests for this one over the years. It is finally built into Factor, so you'll be able to start a timer from anywhere in Factor and either assign it to a project or simply start the timer, stop it when you're finished working on what you're working on, and it'll save a queue of these timers that you can then later assign to projects so that you don't have to stop the flow of what you're currently working on in the system. You can always do the assignment later. Finally, the third item that we're adding is only available on the grid-based time entry and is specifically for firms that need to track for legal purposes time in, time out, and certain paid or unpaid breaks that are taken throughout the day. As you may be aware, in certain states and certain regions of the US, there's policies in place that require firms to track, even for salaried employees, when individuals start and end their day, and whether or not they've taken certain paid or unpaid breaks and the times when those were taken. So if you're using the grid-based new weekly view of time entry, there will also be an option to turn on tracking of time in and time out. These don't create time entries and are treated as separate, but it is a way for your team to quickly then record when they started the day, when they ended the day, and when they took breaks, and ensure that that is a match for the amount of time that they logged in time entries, so that all of the time that they worked is accounted for in billable, non-billable, or PTO time entries. That's what we've got coming down the line. And of course, there'll be new training videos in our video library for all these new features. In terms of your options for migrating to these new features, you'll have the option to maintain the classic or current view of time entry or switch on the new weekly view. You can't have both enabled at the same time because there are several options and new features like the ones I just discussed that hinge on having the weekly time entry enabled, but you can make the choice about when you want to make this switch over and ensure that your team feels comfortable before you do. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to us at help@factorapp.com or use the live chat in the app, and our team would be happy to answer any additional questions.